Live from KELOLAND Media Group. Midday in KELOLAND.
A South Dakota nonprofit is helping people connect with the ocean. We'll show you their reason behind the mission. And President Biden issued an apology to Ukraine. The keynotes from his speech in just a bit. Good afternoon and thanks for joining us. I'm Tom Hansen. Rapid City Police are looking for the person who shot and killed a teenager. Police responded to a call around 10 last night for a person who was shot. 18-year-old Wanblee Janice was taken to the hospital where he was later pronounced dead. Witnesses say the shooting followed an interaction between two groups of people. If you have any information, please call the Rapid City Police Department. The Pierre man charged in the stabbing death of a Rapid City girl has been found incompetent to stand trial. David Shangru is charged with first and second degree murder and aggravated assault in the death of 17-year-old Evie Maxey. The ruling was made during a competency hearing in April. Shangru has been ordered to the Human Services Center in Yankton. Now, in November of last year, Pierre police were called to an apartment in the southwestern part of town. Authorities say officers found Maxey dead. Shangru's trial is tentatively set for mid-August. Turning now to first look at your midday forecasts with meteorologist Scott Munt, and you're watching a system out there, huh?
Yeah, a couple of showers, isolated thunder showers in central South Dakota. That continues to move to the east. You know, we've had thickening cloud cover this morning in and around Sioux Falls as we continue to watch the system just off to the west. Currently 70 degrees now. We do have a light south wind at 3 miles per hour. As we do take a look at our live cam in winter, they have showers in the area. Temperature a cool 59, and they've picked up just over 1/10 of an inch of rainfall. You could see the rain from Pierre near Miller, Huron, areas to the south, moving to the east and slightly to the southeast. That is our Huron radar. As you can see, the showers stretching from near Wessington Springs down toward the Mitchell area. And we'll watch this fill in as we go through the afternoon in southeastern South Dakota. Rainfall amounts have been fairly light. Mentioned that around 1/10 of an inch in winter, 800s in Chamberlain, and just enough to measure in Mitchell. So we'll go with the rain today and tomorrow. We'll continue with our rain chances. This is Futurecast as we hit the afternoon. That's 2 o'clock, hugging Interstate 90. We'll say from near Chamberlain, areas to the east, while we watch for severe weather to our south, not far to our south, into Nebraska. They could see a couple of stronger storms develop, maybe around 5 o'clock, and then we'll have to watch this area in the north central South Dakota. Some of the short-term models are predicting that we can see a couple of strong, maybe even isolated severe storm in north central South Dakota as we do go into the later part of the afternoon and early this evening. And then, as I mentioned before, we'll just continue these light shower chances as we get into the day for tomorrow, mainly showing up in south central and southeastern South Dakota. Now, they expanded that marginal risk for severe weather more or less to include any of those isolated cells that may appear later today in north central KELOLAND. Otherwise, that's an enhanced risk now in Nebraska. Winds are light, getting a nice break from those winds as temperatures are in the 50s, 60s, and 70s. Forecast highs for today, we'll watch our numbers probably hit the 70s in many locations, even a chance at 80-degree weather if we start to see a little more sunshine in central South Dakota, and as long as that rain continues to move to the east. I'll have more details on your forecast coming up.
Thank you, Scott. Well, the offseason is barely a month old, but the Sioux Falls Stampede are back on the ice at the Shields Iceplex. More than 100 hockey players from across the country are looking to earn a spot on the team's training camp roster during this week's main camp. The players range in age from 16 to 20 years old.
It's a give and take a little bit. There are some players here that are a little bit younger who are gaining experience in junior hockey and seeing what the USHL and the Sioux Falls Stampede are all about. And there are other players here challenging for a roster spot.
There are 8 games on today's schedule. The first round of cuts is tomorrow afternoon, prior to a pair of all-star games. The camp runs through Sunday. We'll hear from the new head coach of the Stampede tonight on KELOLAND News. Tomorrow is World Oceans Day. Now, that's a time to celebrate the health and the longevity of the ocean habitats all over the world. While we may be more than 1,000 miles away from the ocean here in KELOLAND, A local nonprofit is working to help make sure that people in South Dakota always have a chance to connect with the ocean and its marine life.
The more you experience something, the more you're exposed to something, the more you're going to be able to learn about it, grow that interest, grow that care. And that's really what zoos and aquariums are all about, connecting us people with our animal friends in the animal kingdom and growing that appreciation for those animals as well as their habitats.
How the new partnership between the Great Plains Zoo and the Butterfly House and Aquarium will help connect people in the region to the ocean even more. That's coming up in tonight's Eye on KELOLAND at 10. President Biden warned of the current threats to democracy. It came during a speech to honor U.S. soldiers who took part in the D-Day invasion 80 years ago. Ahead of his address, the president also issued a rare apology. Natalie Brandt reports from Washington, D.C.
At Pointe du Arc Friday, President Biden paid tribute to the U.S. Army Rangers who scaled the 100-foot cliffs between Omaha and Utah Beach 80 years ago to neutralize German artillery, helping the Allies turn the tide of World War II.
When the Nazis cut the ropes, the Rangers used their hands, and inch by inch, foot by foot, yard by yard, the Rangers literally clawed their way up this mighty precipice.
In a speech on democracy, the president connected D-Day to supporting Ukraine's fight for freedom.
They stood against Hitler's aggression. Does anyone doubt that they would want America to stand up against Putin's aggression here in Europe today?
Earlier in the day, the president met in Paris with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, where he pledged continued U.S. support in Ukraine's war with Russia and publicly apologized to Zelensky for the congressional gridlock earlier this year that held up a critically needed aid package.
I'm not going to walk away from you. I apologize for those weeks of not knowing what's going to happen in terms of funding.
The president also announced a new $225 million assistance package for Ukraine as it fights off Russia's offensive around Kharkiv. Natalie Brand, CBS News.
The State Department says the new aid package includes air defense interceptors, artillery systems and munitions, armored vehicles, and anti-tank weapons. Still ahead, what careers are currently leading the way in the job markets? And more than 1 trillion pieces of plastic are floating in the ocean. The effort it's taking to clean it up after the break.
And in weather, that's our Huron live cam. Mostly cloudy skies overhead, watching for some showers in the area. More details on your forecast coming up.